Hello and welcome back to the Hayden Show. And if you're joining us now, I'm very, very sorry because we're looking through all the Marvel live action shows. We've seen the greatest ones we've seen before. Some mediocre, some were really good. Now we've got to show the worst. Inhumans.
I'm trying to think then, is this the worst one we've got to cover?
Yeah.
I'm like, is it?
Going for that, I feel like it.
I'd say it's the most let down one.
Definitely.
I mean, some of the ones that we've got to cover are ones that it's just a case of, yeah, they're not the greatest, but they aren't mainstream, so
Yeah.
in terms of like character wise, so you can get away with them not being great. Whereas this is
Also,
the case of these are big characters because Marvel's Inhumans are big characters within the Marvel universe.
This was supposed to be basically Marvel's answer for X-Men at the time. Before we got the rights, for them. It was like, we can't really use mutants. Let's use Inhumans. Let's push those.
So Agents of Shield did it well, so
yeah,
let's make a film. And then let's not do a film. Still want to do Inhumans though. Let's do a TV show.
That totally won't affect it at all.
I mean, I remember when fucking Vin Diesel wanted to be Black Bolt in the movie.
Wow.
At one point, he wanted to... Imagine that. You get away two characters that do fuck all. One that just says like, a couple of words, and one that just goes...
A character. Either he be the person doing the sign language, and just that all he's got to do, be on camera, and also playing the person that all he got to do is to say "I am Groot" over and over again.
He literally... I remember then that was the case when they're going into the film. He was like, "Oh, I'm staking my claim to be Black Bolt."
That would be cool.
And then it never... Well, never Vin Diesel, not so much. He's kind of an arsehole in there, apparently.
True.
It's when the guy who did the Fast and Furious dropped out of doing it. He had enough of his fucking shenanigans. But yeah, obviously, this one's called Behold the Inhumans. Again, another one that's not just called Pilot. And this is one that, at a time, in terms of Marvel shows, would have been the one that probably had the most sort of budget into it. In terms of, like, obviously now, if you look at Disney Plus shows, there's a lot more budget into them. I mean, Falcon and Soldier is a prime example. By the end of its series run, it had the budget of a movie. It had a full like $150 million budget within it, plus $150+ million. Yes, this one wouldn't have had that much by the end of it, but it still probably would have been one that had, like, in terms of like straight to TV, so not streaming, straight to TV. This probably would have been one of the bigger budgeted ones, but it looks a bit more expensive, but it feels and also still looks for some reason cheap.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, they've got big set pieces which look like you go, oh, that cost a lot of money, but at the same time you go, but it still feels kind of cheap. It still feels like something you'd see on a sci-fi movie, like a Sci-Fi Channel original series or something. It still feels like that. And heck, even some of them have better looking stuff on lower budgets.
Yeah.
So it feels a bit weirder. See, especially with a pilot, it has 30 minutes of not drawing you in, and then it has the last like 5-10 minutes of, okay, it's getting a bit interesting now. Like, everything's like coming together. Like, the series is actually going ahead with how it's going to be. Like, Inhumans on the run from Maximus and the Royal Guards. But that's not till the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's literally got half hour of trying to...
Not to sleep.
Trying to essentially build your characters, but not.
Yeah.
Like, you look at some shows when they do it, they build like a couple of characters here and there, but yes, it's trying to build Black Bolt heavily, more than anyone. But it's still not at the same time.
All the build up is he wants to help the Inhumans on Earth, and he's Inhuman. He's Black Bolt. That's all we really.
It's trying to build. It's trying to build the character, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Pilot needs to build the character, like Agent Shield did with Ward. Agent Carter did with Agent Carter, but she already got it before, and so Jarvis kind of more. And all the other ones with their protagonists. Which is fair enough, but it kind of fails to do that.
Oh, definitely. It feels empty. It feels like, as a good old Geralt says, it's like it's biting into a piece of a nice big pie, and it has no filling whatsoever. It looks extravagant, but doesn't feel.
See, if I remember correctly, it's been a while again since I've watched this. I swear there's like 1 or 2 episodes that I feel are actually pretty good. But it's like the whole series overall is a letdown.
Oh yeah, and because we're doing just in the pilots as well.
It definitely is not a great pilot. I mean,
Yeah.
Blade was cheap because
Oh yeah.
it's a 2006 TV
Blade
show.
felt like a sci-fi show. This feels like a sci-fi show is trying to pretend to be
The
a
Marvel.
big budget Marvel film. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're trying to look like, oh, look at me. We've got all this money. We put it on the CGI of hair.
This is my argument I had. I think it was the last episode or it was one before. These are characters that aren't designed to work for TV, especially not a big group. That's where something like the Gifted got away with it. Yes, it was X-Men, but they weren't X-Men. They weren't your mainstream X-Men. They were minor characters like Polaris, which is obviously Magneto's daughter. Like it was these side characters. Yeah, you had a couple of ones that have been in big X-Men films, like Blink. She was, of course, in the Days of Futures Past.
Yeah.
You get some of these ones, but it's still focused on minor X-Men. It's not mainstream X-Men. Whereas this is the Royal Family. It's the mainstream Inhumans, and that's why it feels kind of let down when you watch it. Where these should be given a lot more room to breathe, a lot more budget, better writers on it.
Way better. Better writers, even probably some better choices for actors. Even though, like, what they chose, some of the actors they chose for this should have done better. And, like, the main villain person playing Maximus is played probably one of the most well.
The writing. I wouldn't always blame the actors. I'd blame a lot of times the writing behind it. Because sometimes you can get a great actor doing a role.
Yeah.
And it's shit when it comes out. But it's their words are saying a lot of times.
We've seen them do good stuff, but the writing really let them down. Right, the writing, the pacing of the whole episode is just like you're
too slow.
Bored for the first half,
too
and then
slow.
It instantly speeds up.
It's only when Maximus finally kicks in the reveal that I'm a bad guy. That is when it speeds up, and he's trying to take out the Inhumans one by one. And there's the more action scenes of fucking leg boy booting the shit out of people. The smart one, actually, in a pretty cool scene where he's like out of body experience, like, okay, let's try this again. That's probably the one cool moment at this whole episode is that scene of him going, okay, so this failed here. I'm going to try this again. And he sees where he's got to punch, dodge, shoot. Like, that's probably the one cool sequence out of the entire thing. Yeah. So that's the only thing this has really got going for is that one scene, personally.
One scene.
I mean, the intro is pretty cool, but the intro feels like Michael Bay got too much involved. But that sequence there shows that they're trying to be different from the other ABC shows. There you can see, okay, they're trying to be a bit more budgeted. But it feels weird. It doesn't feel great. Like, I mean, it feels bigger budgeted, like the camera angling, the slow-mo and everything. And then you got the very cheap-looking, like, Triton and everything. And it's just a case of... You've got the bigger budget there, but you can still see the lower budget there colliding in the middle.
Yeah, it's like... It's like someone who's, like, a big millionaire. And they're like, I want to show people that I've got all this money. I'm going to buy anything that's expensive. Doesn't matter what it looks like. If it looks cheap and horrible... But if I go, but price tag wise, it's about £1 million quid. Look at that. Look at me. I'm spending £1 million on that piece of shit there. Yeah, it was £1 million quid. That's what it felt like. Yeah. It's like they're trying to show off. Oh, look what we can. Look at the money, and not like look at the story we can tell. Yeah. Look how beautiful we can make it look. We can make everything feel like a proper world.
They tried to make it. They went flashy, and
flashy.
It wasn't. There was nothing behind the flash.
Yeah, there's no substance to the actual episode. Into the whole show, really.
There was a flash, but there was no light.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like, I mean, my big fucking thing, I was like, oh my god, that looks so horrible, was Black Bolt's headgear. Like, I don't mind the suit, because again, TV show, so the suit has to be sort of lower budgeted.
And also back then as well, in Marvel, that's when they weren't doing comic
accurate. I think it was.
They weren't doing comic accurate. They were doing more sleek,
like Daredevil and that had modern, like more developed costumes. Yeah. But the difference there is, obviously you can get away with that for those because they kind of need it. Whereas this, you can get away without them because they're not going to be in it full time for the fact that a lot of the show, Black Bolt for example, is in a suit. He's in a basic suit, like he's trying to blend in. Like, so you don't need this massive like suit, but at least have like a headband that has the proper Triton, the obviously the prongs on it. Whereas this is literally looks like they've got a fucking sweatband
Yeah.
and just put some like attachments to it.
And you can't even. There's not even like a proper like tune.
No, it's like a little tiny fucking metal bit, which looks horrible. Especially when you've watched Multiverse of Madness and you see the comic accurate suits.
Yeah.
Yes, as I said, I don't mind that it's not comic accurate in this. Like, it's just the design slightly there. I would have preferred still a headband that had the prongs or something.
Yeah, because like, the whole point is that's what tunes.
Especially if I didn't as well see the clearly sweatband underneath. Like if it's like a black bar or something, and you had the prongs on it. It
was like really uncomfortable, and it's like, just put some underneath it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded if it was just like a black bar around his head and like the prongs. That would have looked better than that. So I would have again understood. Okay, it's a TV show, not going to be comic accurate here. Not going to be a big flashy suit, so fair enough. But it's just the fact that I can see the grey, clearly sweatband underneath it that pisses me off a bit. Like, ugh. I mean, when you look at, say, like, the Blade TV show, I mean, yeah, it wasn't the best, but there was still... It spread out its exciting moments throughout, whereas this didn't. It had it at the start, but then slowed down too much until the last, like, 5 so minutes. Like, it was...
It was like the action was pretty much, like, ended with the last 5 minutes.
Action is literally beginning and end.
Yeah.
Everything else in the middle was just too drawn out and wasn't done well enough.
He's literally like, well, there's a flash here, flashy, nothing can...
I literally don't mind them doing this in the middle, as long as it's well written and it feels fine to watch. Because a lot of like these other Marvel shows you see, there's not much in the middle. It's more building this character up. But you still need something there. You still need something to be interesting for the audience to watch, which this doesn't have for a pilot. Yes, I don't mind they did the whole Black Bolt showing off his powers. That works well for this because if I remember correctly, I think they show a little bit in episode 2, like a little teaser of it. Because I swear he does like a little bit. I know the last episode definitely does the full.
You see, like obviously a flashback where he shouts at his parents.
Well, you've seen like the silhouettes. It's not like fully like showcased. Which I don't mind. Because as I say, I know it builds up into the final episode where he fully does it when he's like, goodbye, but I don't know, it feels like they try to go expensive more than they have with their other shows, but it feels too cheap.
Like it's quantity over quality kind of like thing. It's like they're going all the fancy looking,
like especially for the fact that the first 2 episodes were designed for IMAX.
Definitely,
like they've clearly gone, let's make this big extravagant, and I mean, I would have been bored. I wouldn't have wanted to watch this. See, at the time, I wanted to watch this in cinema when it was first coming out, but you gotta get to an IMAX, which is Birmingham for us. It's like a distance. Whereas then after I've watched it, I'm like, I don't think I would have wanted to pay for that. I mean, I think it made 3.8 million at the box office.
Really?
It's not going to make a massive amount because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it made some money. They got something off it.
Made money because obviously people thought it was going to be good, and it's got Marvel in it. Oh, let's go see this. It's a Marvel.
Oh, Inhumans was going to be a movie. Let's go watch this. But you know.
Maybe it's movie quality for a whole series. It's.
I think you said your best yourself. Lockjaw is your best character in this.
Yeah. The dog.
The big CGI dog.
It's a big CGI dog that can teleport, and it's Lockjaw.
And that's the coolest scenes, is the teleportation, when he's just like...
The teleport
it's like
look really good.
It's like Thanos dusting people.
Yeah. It looks really good for him, but then character-wise, everyone feels bland.
Everyone feels like they're designed for TV.
Yeah. Everyone feels like a Wish version of the actual characters.
I mean, it's been proven instantly with Multiverse of Madness that Black Bolt can be pretty cool, even for a few sequences before blowing his own head off.
Yeah,
like
we see that actor could do good.
Ant-Man's a good actor. I mean, I been watching him in Star Trek, and he's good in that. So it's shown that it can be good. It's just you need better people behind,
better writers, better producers
behind the screen to make it better. Which is obviously why hopefully at some point they try to redo this. With a Disney budget behind it.
Oh, like if they could actually bring back Inhumans, but done right.
See, I feel like eventually maybe, especially because of Kamala now. If they lean, because if obviously they're leaning with the whole energy thing, but there's something inside her. If eventually they lead into that's the Inhumans, I hope they do eventually surprise us and go Inhumans.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. But,
Inhumans take 2.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've had like a superhero thing and then they've tried it again. I mean, Punisher's been resurrected like 3 times.
Free Spider-Man.
Blade's been resurrected twice. Spider-Man's gone 3 times. Hulk's gone fucking 3 times technically.
Yeah, we'll probably
4 if you count TV show.
Yeah, we'll probably see more Ghost Riders.
Obviously, Ghost Riders had 2 attempts.
Daredevil
Had 2 attempts.
Yeah.
So it deserves a second chance because Inhumans did well in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as the side plot Inhumans, not your main centre focus Inhumans.
I think if they did like a film
focus on the royal family, it needs to be done well. If you're doing Inhumans series again, focus on your... If you
want to do a series with Inhumans...
Don't focus on the royal family.
Focus on Daisy or other Inhuman characters like Kamala. They are fine.
I mean, even like Crystal.
Yeah,
she's not.
She would have been.
She's like focus on her, like the royal family being the back plot of it, and it's just her getting used to her powers and abilities.
That would have been cool.
See, because we write better.
I know.
You know, dialogue not so much, but you know, story ideas are good.
Like a whole thing of like her connection with Lockjaw would have been cool.
Yeah.
Just her and Lockjaw. Entire series about that would have been good. It's fair, like if she probably did like later on in the series, she becomes a pretty good, okay character. In the pilot, you don't really see her much.
No, she's just in a little tiny bit.
You see a little bit of it, and that's it. But later on, she's become pretty good. But for this, what it is now, for this particular episode, you don't see enough, like, any redemption. It's like there's nothing really redeems this series, you know, just apart from one looking good Lockjaw. Shame.
Best way to sum it up: Wish presents the
Yes.
Marvel's Inhumans.
Yeah. It's definitely the big tech, like what could it's what could have been. Big letdown. It
kind of reminds me of when the Roger Corman, the big B movie director, tried to do Fantastic Four in the 90s, which never got released officially. It kind of feels like someone basically with no idea what the fuck they were doing tried to make it properly and just didn't do it.
It was very overhyped. Well,
yeah,
like,
there was a lot of hype behind it.
It was going to be seen as this big thing. People wanted to see Inhumans because obviously Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. made them more pushed in the limelight because we couldn't have X-Men. They're like, we're doing Inhumans. Pretty much the same concept, but it's a little bit different. We get to see the human side, the royal family. So just on Earth, we get to see. It could have been so good, but they fucked it up, and then they made the concept of the Inhumans a bit more like people didn't really want to touch it with even with a 4-foot pole. People like wanted to avoid it, which then led to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. becoming not canon anymore because they didn't want to associate with the Inhuman side of it, and obviously they didn't want to. Well,
I mean, this was post Inhumans anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Kamala could have. Other people thought, oh, she's not actually outright saying she's Inhuman yet. If they do, they do. If they don't, it's probably because this series. They didn't want to like associate her with Inhumans. Hopefully, they can redeem themselves with it. I think they had something there that could have been good. Fucked it up royally. Yeah, best way to explain it. Big fuck up, letdown. Right then, time for the ratings. Then I think.
Go on.
Get it over and done with. I mean, we said there's only one thing that redeems it, and that's Lockjaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one.
1 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I say 10 out of 10, that sounds.
Say 11 out of 10. It kind of.
That still makes it seem really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you got a fucking weird rating. Your 10s are actually like 100, technically speaking.
Yeah, so if it was out of 100, it would be 10, but because it's not technically out of 100, it's out of 10. I'll put it lowest on.
I'm just going to put a graphic in my head just exploding like fucking black bolts because you just confuse the fuck out of me.
Yeah. See, the ratings fucked up. Do you want to thought really for letting me have the rating?
1 out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's quite simple. Humans go straight to the bottom.
That was the point. At the bottom. Yeah. Like that weird
Ben 10 crossover Nexus.
Thing. The ship Ben 10 he gets.
Yeah.
Lowest or low.
Okay, so my question here is, would you like to see Inhumans get a second chance after, for the fact Black Bolt was used a bit better in a Multiverse of Madness, even if he only had a short moment? Okay, so next week we are moving on to the Netflix universe. Well, next month technically, but it's next week because we're into August. We'll move on to the Netflix universe, and we kick off with what started the Netflix universe and what made, well, Marvel TV big, and that is Daredevil. One of my favourite TV shows out there. So yeah, we will see you for that next time.
Bye.
If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.